I try to look at a lot of these things from like not necessarily a global perspective, but what would I do if I was in that position? I think sometimes when we're looking at things, whether it's the presidency, who needs to be in the Senate, Congress, or depending on where you are, where you live, parliament, right? We have this level of certainty that this is how things should be, right? And most of the time, if not all of the time, we don't have all the information to make that certainty, that certain decision for that situation, right? So for example, let's just take your house for example. I can't say for certain I know what's happening in your house, right? Because I don't live there. So the decisions that you make in your house in Italy, or wherever you may be, on a daily basis, I could think some of those decisions are ludicrous, that your priorities are not set right in a particular manner, right? But I'm making that decision as an outsider, right? As an outsider. I don't know what's happening in your home. And you don't know what's happening in mine, right? So I think that it's easy for us to have this level of certainty because we're familiar with certain things, but we don't have the information to make those decisions. So when it comes to what a king should do, or a president should do, or a prime minister should do, we don't know. We don't know. We would know if we were in their position, right? And I think that so many times when we look at the news and if somebody should invade a particular country and territory because of a particular situation, or assassinate so-and-so, whoever they may be, we don't know what information and, you know, the casualties involved, you know, men, women, children, generations, you know, house, property, businesses, and things like that. We don't know. We don't know. We think we know, but we don't know. And to be honest, I'm a children of immigrants myself. Yeah, so I think that I really try to have conversations online as if I was having that conversation with you face to face. And this is how we would have the conversation. I don't think that, I mean, I'm sure certain parts of the conversation would be charged, right? In terms of our passion for a particular topic. But I think that if we can't have the conversation in a civil manner, right? I think that we just need to get back to that, right? It's cool for us to play games and review things and talk about the things that we're playing. You know, Destiny's next week, the new consoles are coming out, and all that exciting stuff, right? I think that's great. But I think that we should be able to have conversations, even if it's politics, even if it's religion, you know, or faith, depending on how you look at that, right? Where it could still be civil, right? It could be over a cup of tea or whatever, you know, crumpets or whatever the thing is, right? That it should still be able to be a civil conversation in the midst of, you know, where we are today in the world, right? So I think Americans, me being one of them, get a bad rap because I don't know. Yeah. People think politics always become aggressive, which I don't. Yeah, I don't think it's true. I think it's really the angle that the person is already playing before they start having the conversation, right? So if the person is red or blue, right? If the person is red, they're going to have their arguments ready for the red standpoint, right? If they're blue, they're going to have their arguments ready for that, right? But I think that the part that we forget is we're human beings, right? We're going to have disagreements. And when we do have disagreements, how are we having the disagreements, right? Like you said, is it aggressive? Is it, do we just, have a civil conversation? I think too many times when you look at a lot of Twitch, I don't even know why we're even talking about this stuff, but we'll roll with it. When we look at Twitch stuff or Twitch conversations, depending on who's on the platform, it's not always civil. And I don't think it should be that way. I don't think it should be that way. I think we should be able to have the conversation as human beings, and we may have disagreements. We may have disagreements if it should be Trump or Biden, if it should be red, blue, if Mitch McConnell should be the head guy making a lot of the decisions, if Mitt Romney should be in charge of healthcare, should all the votes be recounted, or just the certain states that are in question. I mean, there's a lot of different things that we could talk about. Should America be involved in conversations from the global perspective, or should we join the international? I don't remember what it's called, but should we join the international table again? I don't think we should have ever left that table. But I think that when you want to do your own thing, you don't want anybody involved. Which, if you understand that mindset of the individual who does stuff like that, if you want to make your own decisions, you don't want anybody else's point of view. So America being not being excluded, but removing itself from international tables. I don't know what that agreement is, but whatever that international table is, right? The Knights of the Round Table internationally, I don't know what they're called, but when you remove yourself from those conversations, then you're no longer accountable to that table, and you can do whatever you want. And I think that if we really are honest, the last 4 years, America was doing whatever it wanted to do under this current presidency, right? And now some individuals will say, well, that's great. And some individual will say, well, that was a nightmare, right? And then you have conversations, about that. So I don't know, man. I think if we're kind, and if we're, respectful, and we have these conversations, I think that you can get along with pretty much anybody if you're fair and your outlook, right?